So Congress is back in session today, and there are several high-profile issues looming over Capitol Hill. Lawmakers are also up against a September 30th deadline to keep the government funded. They also face a fight over the Jeffrey Epstein files, with a bipartisan push for their release. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to focus on crime across the U.S. You're seeing a post here from social media as he declares Washington, D.C. a crime-free zone, urging other cities to, quote, work with the administration. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House for more on all of this. Natalie, good morning to you. Of course, there is still crime in the nation's capital, but how does this tone from the president set the runway for federal troops in other cities?
Good morning, Errol. Well, there continues to be some mixed messages from the White House. Remember, earlier last week, President Trump suggested that he wanted to wait for Democratic governors to ask him for help before deploying troops to their cities. Well, over the weekend, we saw some what could be considered increasing threats directed toward Chicago, particularly after violence in that city over the weekend, a series of shootings. The president, in a Saturday social media post, said that Governor Pritzker better straighten it out fast or we're coming. Well, Governor Pritzker spoke to CBS News, specifically Ed O'Keefe, who anchored Face the Nation over the weekend, and said that sending U.S. troops to Chicago, in his view, would be an invasion. Here's more of what he had to say.
Well, National Guard troops, any kind of troops on the streets of an American city don't belong unless there is an insurrection, unless there is truly an emergency. There is not.
Now, CBS News has learned, according to sources, that there are plans. The administration is planning for a major immigration enforcement operation in Chicago that could begin as early as this week. The mayor there, Brandon Johnson, signed an executive order stating that Chicago police will not collaborate with federal agents in certain types of enforcement activities, specifically around immigration, Errol.
And Natalie, there was another major setback for President Trump's tariffs. A federal appeals court struck down many of these levies. Why is that, and what comes next?
Yeah, the administration, the president has said that they will appeal this all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. So that is ultimately where this will be decided. Now, the ruling by the appeals court on Friday targeted the reciprocal tariffs that have been placed by the administration on dozens of trading partners, not those sector-specific tariffs when you think about tariffs on steel or aluminum. But this was a major blow for the Trump administration's trade and tariff policy, and really throws into limbo a number of these deals that have been negotiated between the Trump White House and various trading partners. Here's more on the impact in the view of trade advisor Peter Navarro. Take a listen.
The lower court's ruling is upheld. President Trump has correctly said that will be the end of the United States, because it will be impossible to defend ourselves from the fentanyl poisoning and all of the trade environment, which is hollowing out our supply chains and creating very dangerous problems for the American people.
Now, lawmakers, though, applaud the ruling, saying that the court clearly stated and reaffirmed that tariffs and taxes, that power rests with Congress. Important to note, though, Errol, that the tariffs will remain in place until at least mid-October to allow the Trump administration time to appeal to the Supreme Court.